Yep.
Okay. Do I gotta hit record somewhere?
If you want to record, you can hit.
I think James has that all taken care of.
Oh, okay.
If you want to make your own, you can hit record on the bottom right.
Okay. So my topic for the project is managing social media in half the time. It's creating an infographic for small businesses. And we're going to start with an introduction. Social media is important for businesses because it allows them to communicate with, listen to, and learn from their customers in a way they have never been able to do before. Companies are implementing social media for marketing, advertising, employee recruitment, and overall communication with employees, clients, and partners. Social media is arguably more important for small businesses, primarily because such businesses lack their traditional resources to market their products or services. And here we see this is the benefits of social media marketing. And research has found that the top 2 benefits of social media marketing are increasing exposure and increasing traffic. The problem is that small businesses may have limited means since the owners often wear many hats in the organization and as a result have many demands on their time. The problem for small businesses is that it takes much time and dedication to provide original, interesting content on a regular basis with social media. And the 2016 Social Media Marketing Social Industry Report found that 63% of marketers are using social media for 6 hours or more, and 39% for 11 or more hours weekly. A significant percentage, 19% of marketers, spend more than 20 hours each week on social media. So, along with utilizing the benefits of social media, small business owners must also make sure that operations are run efficiently, finances are well taken care of, and employees are both productive and satisfied with their employment. Social media can be overwhelming if business managers don't have the proper knowledge or tools, whether it's to create or repurpose content to find the best way to engage with their online community, or to create a comprehensive posting schedule. Having the right social media management tools is crucial to the success of a small business. So the purpose of this project is to create an information graphic using PictoChart and ThingLink software to visually display the tools small businesses can use to save time when implementing social media. The intended audience for this project are small businesses that have many demands on their time and limited staff. Specifically, the infographic will be designed for the Small Businesses Trends website. So why do an infographic is the next slide here. There are numerous social media management tools a small business can utilize to save time when implementing social media. To consume the sheer number of social media tools in the traditional article format can be overwhelming, especially since the management tools themselves are constantly changing. The benefit of an information graphic or infographic is that the human mind can perceive visual information very quickly and in a more efficient and permanent manner than written information. So then we get into the methodology. And this is just like a project overview. This project involved the creation of an infographic that presents the data and tells a story of how small businesses can save time when implementing social media. The infographic is interactive in that certain graphical components will contain links to websites, and additional text can be obtained when hovering over the icons. An interactive infographic was optimal approach because it was being designed for the web and would allow users to connect directly with the social media tools that would ultimately help their small business. So when preparing for the design process, I first explored the infographics that existed on the topic. I didn't find any infographics that were specifically on the topic of time-saving social media tools for small businesses. However, I did find a similar infographic on the topic entitled 10 Top Tools for Social Media Automation. And that's what you see here is the similar infographic that I found. You can see that it doesn't specifically focus on small business. It is heavily textual and is not interactive. So for example, if you click where it says buffer.com, you can't actually get to the buffer.com. So it gives the address, but you can't get there. And it doesn't include information on the demographics of specific social media platforms, which I included in my infographic, and it focuses only on the marketing aspect of social media. So when gathering data, I researched all the data that could potentially be included in the infographic. This included not only the numerous social media tools that a small business could use to save time when implementing social media, but also the demographics of each of them, of the social media platforms. This was not an easy task as there had not been much research conducted on the demographics of social media. After I finally found a few articles that did research social media demographics, it was extremely difficult to determine how they should be included in the infographic. So I decided to design a chart that would show social media usage of the different platforms. Interactivity would then allow the user to delve even further into the specific social media platform demographics. Therefore, what would have taken many charts and graphs to design a static infographic was achieved through one very clear and organized triangle bar graph with interactive icons. The data on social media tools was also so vast, I decided that limiting it to the top 5 with a simple textual frame and picto chart would at least give users a starting point of which social media tools they may want to explore first. So then we get into the product production. And first, to tell a good story, I needed an eye-catching title that explained what the infographic was about. I chose to have the title Social Media to have a larger text size and to grab the immediate point of what the infographic was about. The subtitle had a much smaller text size, but explained more in depth with the wording, time-saving tools for small businesses. Next, I needed to pick the most important points and to summarize them with a few words and graphics. I chose to include a triangle bar graph to illustrate the demographics of 5 social media platforms. These platforms are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. So also using PictoChart, I included a text frame and pictures of company logos to illustrate the top 5 social media tools for small businesses. Thirdly, to best illustrate the infographic story, I chose a businesswoman character to tell the story. The character guides the viewer with simple language such as, let's think of your customers. Touch this image to discover its story. Then we get into the layout. The infographic used a long-form infographic that was designed using PictoChart and ThingLink. Long-form infographics are essentially articles in visual form, are easy to digest, and highly shareable. McGuire states a long-form infographic offers enough space to tell a story. And the interactivity. Another interactive an example of the interactivity of the design is when the user hovers over each of the social media icons in the triangle bar graph, they will obtain additional demographic information that is specific to that social media. So for example, if they hover over Facebook, they would get the social demographics for Facebook. And the user can also hover over each box in the triangle bar graph key for more information about each of the social media platforms, and then click onto their website. So if they click on Facebook, it would take them to Facebook, and also there's a little blurb that tells you what Facebook is and about. So another interactive component will be the text frame of the infographic that includes the top 5 social media tools. In this portion of the infographic, users will be able to click on the company logo of the social media tool and be directed to the website. Also, the viewer is able to see the advantages and disadvantages of using that particular social media tool. If the viewer hovers over additional tools in the infographic I designed, they can explore current websites that include additional tools. So the websites I chose were all written in 2017, and they specifically focused on the best social media tools for small businesses. So next we get into the font. And the font chosen for the infographic is a sans serif, which is often considered to be more appropriate in larger sizes and less appropriate for large quantities of text than the serif fonts. This seemed like an appropriate choice for this infographic since it will be designed with few words. The specific sans serif font that will be used will be the classic geometric Futura. Futura and its variants have become an extremely popular typeface for countless corporate logos, commercial products, films, and advertisements for many years. Futura seemed like the appropriate choice since the infographic was designed for small businesses and includes company logos and icons. So then we get into the colors of the background. In order to achieve aesthetic color combination, the background of the infographic will use adjacent colors on the color wheel, also known as the analogous rule. Both blue and green are cool colors, which give a sense of calm and professionalism. According to the universal principles of design, cooler colors are best for background elements. Both colors are very appropriate for the background colors of the infographic, being that the intended audience is small business managers and owners. So then we get into the color blue. In the business world, blue indicates confidence, reliability, and responsibility. It is ideal for an infographic on social media management tools because high-tech and computer technology businesses can benefit from most shades of blue. The light blue I used in the title background is both refreshing and friendly. This was appropriate for the background that displayed the title of the infographic, whereas the darker blue that I used for the background of the triangle bar graph represents strength and reliability. This was appropriate for a triangle bar graph that focused on the social media platform demographics. And then for the color green, in the business world, green suggests something new and fresh and often represents growth and stability, making this an appropriate choice for this infographic. Green motivates people to join social groups and satisfies their need to belong, which made green an ideal choice of color for the background of the top time-saving social media management tools for small businesses. I specifically chose a bright green because it is more emerging and vibrant, which I hoped would create excitement for using and exploring these social media tools. And then we get into the complementary colors for the title. I chose a contrasting color of orange for the title fonts. Orange is a warm color, and it is best used for foreground elements when designing. Orange is a complementary color for the title background, as shown here. And about orange. Orange is very vibrant, and it's an energetic color, which is appropriate to draw attention to the title of the infographic. In designs, orange commands attention and is often considered friendlier and more inviting and less in your face than red. In business, orange should be applied sparingly as it tends to be the most disliked color in the Western world. For the infographic designed for this project, I chose to include orange only for the title because orange is stimulating for social communication, which is the topic of this project. When choosing the colors for the triangle bar graph, I wanted to stick to the colors associated with the identity of the social media platform. Therefore, I researched the main hex colors, which are true to the social media platform colors. I discovered that three of the social media platforms, however, used blue. These are Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I wanted more contrast and distinction among the colors. Therefore, I decided not to have 3 shades of blue in the triangle bar graph. For LinkedIn, I decided to choose a color on the accent palette, which I found on the LinkedIn Corporation website. For Facebook, I chose a secondary color to represent Facebook on the triangle bar graph. And then as far as project analysis, there were 4 different challenges to the project. The first one being that I needed to learn to use the ThingLink software. And as always, there's a learning curve when exploring a new software program. And the second one was deciding how much interactivity to include in the infographic. This was because with interactivity, there is the potential to include much detailed information. However, the question was how much information would I need to include in order to achieve my goals? And then the third one was deciding which social media tools to highlight. And number 4 was deciding which websites to send the viewer to for additional resources. And then the project limitations. There's 4 limitations. The first one being I was unable to present the demographics for all the social media platforms that exist. Due to the sheer number of social media platforms available, I had to limit the number included in the infographic. Number 2 is that social media management tools are constantly changing. There are many new and different social media management tools that come out every year. With the addition of new social media management tools, some of the older applications cease to exist or simply are not as popular with the addition of the new ones. And number 3 is color blindness or color vision deficiency, which affects around 1 in 12 men and 1 in 200 women worldwide. If someone were colorblind, they may not be able to differentiate the differences in the shades of blue and green and the design, and so it might not get the result that I wanted with the colors. And number 4 is there are many options as to which social media management tools are the best for small businesses. It is up to the viewer to explore the different options that are out there and decide for themselves. Unfortunately, there is no clear-cut answer as to which is the best social media management tools for small businesses. It would be up to individual interpretation. And in conclusion, this is just the objectives. The original project objective was to create an information graphic that used PictoChart and ThingLink software to visually display the tools small businesses can use to save time when implementing social media. The finished project meets these objectives because it tells the story of the time-saving social media tools for small businesses through a story character, a triangle bar graph, icons, company logos, and interactivity. And then future project directions. In the future, one of the things they can do for future projects would be to focus on different social media platforms and the specific demographics of each of those platforms. So in the future, I think this would be more feasible as additional research would probably be done. And then on the different social media platforms, as of right now, as I'm doing this project, it's very limited, the research that is out there. And number 2 is future projects should focus on the current social media management tools of the time, which may vary from the infographic I created in 2017. So with technology constantly changing and a new year might bring even better social management tools for small businesses to utilize that maybe I don't really know about right now because they haven't come out. And number 3 is future projects should include different patterns and textures instead of color for elements that require emphasis, such as in the triangle bar graph. So it can be hard for colorblind users to interpret graphs and charts. Therefore, the inclusion of textures and patterns, it would eliminate that limitation. Patterns and textures were beyond the capabilities of the software programs for this project, but utilizing some different software might allow for those capabilities. So in summary, the infographic tells a story of how to save time by first challenging the small business manager to think of the customer and the types of social media platforms they use. It then leads the small business manager to the social media management tools that would allow them to save time when implementing social media. It demonstrates the usage and demographics of 5 social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. In addition, it gives detailed information about 5 time-saving social media management tools: Buffer, If This Then That, CYFE, Right Tag, and Canva. There is also an opportunity for the viewers to explore additional tools by viewing current websites that focus on social media tools for small businesses. Throughout the design and research project, the infographic was redesigned to better achieve the original goals of telling a story, showing the demographics of specific social media platforms, and providing the various tools needed for a small business to save time. I felt that with each redesign I conducted, the infographic became more visually appealing and was better able to serve the needs of the audience. My hope is to encourage small businesses to implement social media for marketing, advertising, employee recruitment, and overall communication with employees, clients, and partners. However, I am hoping my infographic will not only encourage them to implement social media, but also help to solve the problem of social media consuming much time and dedication for its work effectively. So that's the end. I know you probably have questions. And I have the infographic somewhere here that I wanted to get up. So, do you have any questions?
Hi, Kim.
Hi.
Brian, do you want to go ahead first?
You can go ahead first. That's fine.
Okay. Reading through your paper and seeing your presentation here, by the way, very good presentation, and some great details, and well presented. I'm a little bit curious. I don't think you've actually addressed what does the software you use, ThingLink, what does it actually create? Is it a proprietary image format? Is it HTML5? Like, what is it? What's the end result here?
Okay, so the ThingLink software allows the interactivity, which you can't get through the other one, through
PictoChart?
Yeah, through PictoChart.
Right.
So
Which, I mean, you did have this entire section on interactivity, but I'm not. I'm just a little bit more curious about what ThinkLink creates. Does it create a website that is HTML5 compliant, or what does it actually make?
it actually makes, like, I guess it allows the interactivity, but it doesn't create the website itself.
Does it do an image mask?
Yeah, like you can take an icon and you can create icons with it if you want, and then link them to different things, and you can
Right. So so are you how are your, and here's getting to my next question. How
Sure.
are your users accessing the infographic? Are they going to a URL to look at the infographic?
Yeah, they would have an URL.
Okay, so
So
it
that's
does.
what you
It can
see
make
here.
some sort of web accessible file, whether that's HTML or some
Right.
proprietary format. Um, okay, so I'm imagining it uses some sort of image mapping. Like there's various technologies that will allow you to make regions on an image into links. Um, are they going to, did you do any user research? What are the tools that you expect small business owners to use to look at your infographic? Are they going to be using their phone? Are they going to be using a laptop computer? Or are they using a desktop computer? Do you know what type of preferences they have for browsers?
Oh, I think with this you can use any of the browsers to view it. I mean, you just need the link, but you mean as far as which they're more likely to use to view it, right?
Right. Well, I mean, it does have an impact on how your infographic is consumed, right? So you went with the long form infographic, which traditionally, you're going to have users are going to be scrolling it and they're going to be seeing one section at a time, as opposed to the entire thing, correct?
Right.
So if I mean, they might be seeing more of it at maybe a smaller scale if they're using their phone to look at it and they're using their phone in a portrait mode as opposed to, let's say, a landscape mode, right? And the last concern I have is you put in some information there on keeping it updated, and you acknowledge that these tools and the information on the infographic is going to be needed to be kept updated over time, correct?
Right.
So what is your maintenance plan for the infographic then?
Oh, right. So yeah, I would have to put that in there. But yeah, I'd have to every so often check and see what tools were out there.
Right. um I mean, if I were to suggest, uh I'm suspecting that ThingLink creates some sort of HTML5 compliant either web page or image map.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah.
So I think as part of your paper, you should maybe include a section on what it actually creates, where it's going to be stored, and how you're going to maintain it in the future.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Can I butt in for 2 seconds? What they're
Go ahead.
using is a rich, I had it at the top of my tongue. They're using HTML5. They're using rich media tags, which are basically a high-tech image map. So they're doing the URLs to the rich media, which tags to the images. So they're actually stored on their servers.
Right.
If that helps.
Yeah, that does help.
It would be also really, really awesome if there's some way for you to capture links and see if people viewing your infographic are what links they're clicking on. And for most infographics aren't interactive, and so if there's something to tell the user that this infographic is interactive and these are hyperlinks, that might be also beneficial.
Eve, what do you think makes it like an infographic?
I would say it's design.
Yeah.
I mean, is it like if it's interactive? Is it, I don't know, Ryan. Maybe you're thinking about that too.
Well, it actually leads me to my sort of question was, there is some elements on there that you have put in there which I think are really important, because I think this is getting to exactly sort of the crux of what makes this project sort of unique in what it's trying to do. If we look at the I don't know if you want to bring it up. It might be helpful just to see. I mean, I can click on it here, but I don't know if other people can see. Basically, there's 3 sections that have interactivity to it. There's the triangle.
Can we see that? So Kim, can you
Yeah.
share your
Yeah, I was
screen?
gonna say if you could share your screen, that would be great. And I
Oh,
can
I thought it
talk.
was already sharing. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay, let's see. How do I get?
So as she's bringing that up, I'll sort of preface my question. So there's three elements. There's the triangles that talk about demographic data, and then there's the squares below that with the legend that talks about what each social media does, and then below that there's the social media management tools. And those three all sort of work in concert, for at least what's my interpretation of what you're aiming to do. And for the numbers 1 and 3, which is the demographics and the social media management, there is that little person there saying, hey, you should click on that stuff for more. Like it actually tells you, hey, this is interactive, click on it. The only one that's missing and maybe would be helpful is if there was a third person there telling you to click on the boxes below, because or I guess I don't know which one she's that person's telling to click on, the triangles or the boxes, but maybe there should be 3. And the reason
Okay.
I'm bringing that up is because I think it'd probably be easy to miss the interactivity of the legend with the squares, because those are really important. Now you hover over and obviously it'll catch it, and most users will probably almost stumble upon the interactivity by just moving their mouse enough. But I think it's really important that all 3 of those work in concert. It's the demographics tell the small business owner, hey, this is who will be using these sites. And then the legend below says, hey, this is what these sites will do. And then the social media management says, hey, this is how you can bring that all together. And so if you miss any of those parts, if you don't highlight, so they're telling you to look at the triangles, and below there's another person there saying, hey, take a peek at these things. It may be overkill, and but it does feel like maybe they should say, hey, click on these squares to learn more about each or some phrase it some way that differentiates that there's 3 elements: demographics,
Right.
what the sites actually do, and then how do you manage them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if
And
that gets
also-
at what you were asking, Steve, or
Yeah, it's almost. I mean, but it gets interesting. So yeah, and then we keep using click, but back to Eve's question, it's like it's either click
touch. Yeah.
or tap.
Touch.
You know?
Yeah.
I've been seeing the word tap used to kind of
Take
go
over for click. Yeah.
click.
Yeah.
And then she's hovering, so there's another. It's like there's 3 ways in which you could get the same information: clicking,
Well,
tapping,
how do you
hovering.
hover on a phone?
You don't. I'm saying that gets back to Eve's question, which is,
Yeah.
that would help for all 3 ways of accessing this content, right?
All 3.
Well, I mean, tablets are sort of the in between, right? It's you're I mean, obviously you're talking about mobile devices versus desktops, but
Desktop touch. But even tablet.
I think you'd press and hold in order to do like on a phone, can't you? Does that give you the equivalent to a mouse over?
I don't know. I'm actually accessing it. I'm trying to figure it out right now. I'm accessing the same infographic on my phone, and it seems like I have to touch on it. More like I have to click on it. Like if I tap and hold it, I mean, if I hit the right part of the screen, it's like I've clicked on it anyway.
Right.
But there's like a little shadow box. If I click the right part and move at the same time, it creates a tiny little shadow box that gives me an indication that something's there, but not like if I just tap it where the whole box comes in. I could share my screen if you really wanted to see that, but I don't know if that's.
Kim, what happens if you follow that link on the Pinterest tab?
Which one?
On any of them?
Any of them, yeah.
When you follow those links, you have links up on the ones above. No, up above, on in the Pinterest in the triangle for Pinterest.
Oh, these.
Yeah.
Right.
What happens when you follow that link? Go ahead.
Yeah, so that brings you to Pinterest.
Yeah, but it always goes to. Did you set that to go to a new tab, or
I was just about to say, can you at least set that to go to a new tab, because that would be really helpful.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like it does. And that's interesting. That's kind of a challenge for like HTML5 compliant design, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't mean to jump in there. Ryan was in the middle of asking his question, so.
No, that was, I mean, that was it. My question was just sort of, can we figure out a way to highlight that middle part of the interactivity? And then, you know, if there is, you know, things that you want to, I think this is a conversation that you should think about potentially adding into the paper in terms of thinking through, well, what does this mean for different users of different, so some small business owners, like what does it mean for them to interact with this in different ways, whether it be on their phone or a desktop or any of that, or, you know, that and talk through, if you're able to make it jump into a new tab, that's great, and you should potentially address that would be, you know, the better choice in terms of design, because it would retain users' focus back onto the infographics itself once they're done consuming the content that was linked.
Right.
That's all I have.
Yeah, well, if there's no other questions or comments from everyone, Kim, thank you so much, and thanks for. I know we've run a little bit late, but that was a that's an interesting presentation, and I think you've got a kind of an interesting app here to, and so thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And we will be back again on Monday, I think. I think you're still sharing the screen, but maybe you can return the screen.
Oh.
You might have the wiki up.
There we go.
Yep, I think he's still there. And maybe you can share the screen, James, with the PolyIDL wiki or the IDT. I can do it.
I think it's Monday the 18th, the next time we're up.
Thanks.
7 o'clock and 7:30 is what I have down.
Monday the 18th, 7 and 7:30. So we have nothing next week. So, and we will see where that goes.
All right. Congratulations, Kim. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.